Welcome back to the show. We are in Sacramento. Good friend back on the show, Mr. Chip Maxson. How are you, brother?
Charlie, doing great, man. Great to be here with you. Great to have all the noise and excitement behind us. Great to be at a ballpark today.
You know, when we met, it was the day where they were touring the stadium. It wasn't a game day, and it was a gloomy, rainy day. This is gorgeous to see everybody out. You got all the schools out here. Man, Sacramento is bubbling, and the season is off to a fast start for the River Cats.
Yeah, it's off and running. We're in the middle of 12 games in 13 days, and the kids, we have them out to make sure they bring us all the energy and keep us going on these long homestands.
Now, trust. Trust is a big thing in having a winning team. The River Cats are mounting a comeback right now.
Here we go.
Trust is so important. My driver, Warrior, joined me today on the way to Sacramento. Warrior, I'm going to ask real quick, could you come behind the couch? I want to show the people something real quick. And Chip, I want you to take a look. You've got, here, duck down a little bit. Warrior's got the Guardians of the Galaxy Special Edition Hat Marble. Warrior walked into a barbershop this week, didn't know what to expect. Show him the haircut. Show him the cut.
It looks great, Warrior. Looks great.
Let me see the haircut.
No.
Come on, show it.
No, okay, look, crazy.
No, you got to actually show it for the show. When we're
Okay,
talking.
look, my haircut, I got it.
Turn around, show him the whole thing.
No.
He wanted to bring out a new look and this and that. Every year, the AAA club brings out a new look.
Yep.
At the ballpark, there's new experiences. On the team, there's new talent. And this talent is going to determine the future of the Major League franchise it's attached to. How cool is that to see? Fresh take every year.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's the beauty of minor league baseball. It's so fun to see these young men. I used to be one of these guys, Charlie. Now I look at them, and they're young men in their early 20s trying to achieve their childhood goal of making it to the big leagues. We see all these kids out here right now. They're thinking about their goals of making it to the big leagues or being a musician or whatever their goals are. And they see that their goals can come true by watching these players. So every year it's so much fun to see all these kids come out here, to see our players, which is the big league dreams in their eyes, and they get to pursue it. Last night was awesome. Last night, one of our players, Casey Schmidt, just won a Gold Glove, just won a Rawlings Gold Glove for minor league baseball, got called up to the Giants. His first game with the Giants, hits a home run last night. How storybook is that?
It's crazy. And it's cool because the Giants are right now. We've come out of the era where the Giants back to World Series. World Series has felt like every year. Now the Giants, young talent is going to be a huge part of the Giants' next half decade. So this is where you want to be if you're in the Bay Area. You know what else is cool? Like, we just got back. If you guys watched the show, last week we're in Vegas for Fred Bolitnikoff does his tournament out there now. So we're in Vegas. You jump back over to the Bay Area. Cheap flight, quick flight. Sacramento, San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco. You don't realize if you don't live out here, it's all just a quick drop.
Yeah, it is. We're so connected, especially after the pandemic. So many of the people from the Bay Area, they discovered Sacramento for the first time. They moved out this way to have space for their families and to get out and about. And so really the Bay Area has, in one sense, engulfed Sacramento. We love being a part of that. We love being so close. For those of us that live here, we love the opportunity to go over to San Francisco, see everything there. We love the opportunity, 45 minutes from Napa.
The opportunity to get away.
Oh, man. Yeah, exactly. So it's a great spot. And as you mentioned, a quick flight to so many places.
I put online that you were coming on the show, and I actually had a question submitted from a minor league team owner, and he said, what does he think now? Major League, it seems, is getting more involved with minor league and with different controls and different things. What's that been like?
You know, it's been interesting, and Peter Woodfork, the head of minor league baseball, was just out here last night, and so I was able to catch up with him and pick his brain a little bit. In one sense, it's certainly streamlined the communication. We hear directly from Major League Baseball what their goals are, especially everybody's talking about the rules right now, the pitch clock and pickoffs and pitch comm and all that stuff. And we've been on calls on Zooms with Major League Baseball. They've presented us the data. They presented to us the fan research. So we know all of that going in. We know what their goals are. And then when these rules come out, we understand our role in trying to create a better game of baseball. And candidly, I was an old school guy. I wasn't sure about the pitch
When all
clock.
the changes were coming in.
Yeah,
this year.
but you know what? It's speeding the game up, and that's what everybody wants. And I don't think it's materially impacted a result or an outcome of a game yet. So I'm a fan.
I love the pitch clock. I love the organ.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. But the pitch clock, I feel like, has been welcome. The only one that I've had trouble with is the pitchers on the mound, guys. If a guy's taking a lead off first, throw over once, throw over, or just a baseball move over. The third time, it's a balk. That's the only one that's been weird for me. The other one, and I don't know if they're testing that because all the rules were first tested here, AAA. The mound, they talked about moving the mound back. Do you think there's anything to that?
No, not in minor league baseball yet. They want to make sure, especially with AAA ball players, they want to make sure these guys have as close to a big league experience as possible. I think in the Atlantic League, some non-affiliated leagues that Major League Baseball is partnering with, they're looking at some of those rules to explore with them. But I think the product right now, and we're doing automated balls and strikes. I forgot to mention that. The robot umpires.
Those cameras are?
Yeah, that's all the cameras.
Right around here, guys, I was thinking this morning, there's like 100 cameras. And I was like, is this Folsom or what? It's that's the robot umps?
Yeah, those are the robot umps, and the umpire hears it in his ear, and the fan doesn't even know the difference. What we're trying this year is the challenge rule. So that's where umpires call balls and strikes like they normally would, but a player, the batter, a pitcher, or the catcher can challenge the call by tapping their head. It has to be immediate. They cannot look in the dugout. They get 3 challenges per game. If they lose it,
3-player challenges?
yes, 3-player challenges.
And then the coach still has their challenge?
The coach does not get to challenge it.
No more coaches' challenges.
It's all on the players. Yeah, it's great.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's imagine a world where MLB, the coach is taken out of that equation. I'd like coach to keep 1 card in his pocket. Maybe he gets 1 per game. But do you think that's how they'll look, to let the players decide what's challenged?
Well, certainly with the balls and strikes, that's what they're doing. I think some of the close plays, a coach can still challenge those. But for balls and strikes, they don't want it to slow down the game. And so it's only the players that get to challenge it.
What a beef that was. So you're at the plate. Ball comes in. What would normally be the player getting mad at the ump, the player taps, and that's auto challenge?
It's auto challenged, and then as long as the umpire says good to challenge it, then we show it up on the video board so everybody in the stands, including the umpires, see if the ball was a ball or strike at the same time. So it's great technology. Our fans love it.
That's incredible. You know, so many legacy guys have come in and out of here. Rest in peace to our pal, Vida Blue, who just passed away. Vida impacted so many of us. And this franchise, it's interesting because, like Vida, started with the A's and now is the Giants affiliate. And you've seen guys. You've seen Zito come through here. You've seen Nick Swisher. So many. I saw Mike Piazza had a stint here. That was crazy.
Yeah.
What was the coolest one for you to see?
You know, I wasn't here when Manny Ramirez came through. I actually was in Tacoma at that time, but Sacramento was playing in Tacoma. I got to see Manny Ramirez doing Manny things, Manny-isms, while he was playing for the River Cats, and it was great seeing Manny being Manny.
We almost got nailed. Would that have been viral or what?
That'd have been great. So that was a ton of fun, you know. And recently the likes like Hunter Pence coming through. Hunter was awesome. He was great with the fans, great with the other players. Just a stand-up guy. And so you love it when you see stars like that come through, and you realize why they are who they are, why they're the big league star, why they make such an impact on the community.
This time of year is so interesting in baseball. It's like beginning of the year happens, every fan's ready for their team to win the World Series, right? Me included. Then you start losing some games, and it starts being like, hey, this guy shouldn't be here anymore. This guy shouldn't be here. And then people start looking at the system, and then it's like, wait, this stud's ready. This stud's ready. And everybody wants their new hero to come from the minors. Yeah. It is getting loud in Sacramento today, folks. So when you see that dynamic start to happen, you get 2 things. You get the young guy getting their first crack at the bigs, which is super cool for them. Yeah. But then you also get some of the vets getting sent here, which has to be a little awkward. How's that?
Yeah, awkward. Exactly. And we're in the middle of that right now. We just had Darren Ruff sent down doing some rehab, and then just got DFA'd yesterday. And any Giants fan knows Darren Ruff a couple years ago made a huge impact on their 100-win season. And so to see a guy like that come down and get DFA'd, but they had to make room for Casey Schmidt, who we just talked about, a guy coming up. We've got a couple other guys right now. Kyle Harrison, left-handed pitcher. Baseball America has him as the #1 left-handed pitcher in all of baseball. So all the fans of San Francisco want to see him, but he's got to put in his time. He's got to learn to pitch at the AAA level before the big leagues. And then Patrick Bailey, the #1 draft pick from, I believe, 2020, he just got called up with us. So a catcher, obviously, Joey Bart's just up with the Giants. He's trying to solidify himself as an everyday big leaguer. So we're seeing lots of that talent come up. But then guys like Bryce Johnson started the season with the Giants, just get sent down. And so Bryce is a great guy. He's good human being, and he's going to mesh well with these other guys. But you do see that coming and going, and it does make it challenging sometimes.
No better marketing name than Joey Bart. When he hit the San Francisco roster, I was like, oh, this is dynamite right here.
Yeah, it's great.
In second place, yeah, I lost.
Son of a gun. Okay, so Warrior.
Okay.
What is a river cat? Tell the people.
Okay, it's either a raccoon or a
You gotta
mink.
talk into the mic like
It's
that.
either a raccoon or a mink or one of those Bigfoots with a haircut.
Well, what do you got on your hat in the front?
That right there. This right here.
There's his haircut. He didn't want to show.
oh. You
I
got
love
me.
it. But what is it on the hat?
Okay, it's a Marvel character of a river cat. Right?
Yeah, it's great.
How cool is it to put together all these marketing campaigns? And what goes into that? Like, do they tell you what's going to be the Marvel hat? What's going to be the wrestling team? Like, how's that all work?
No, it's great, and this goes back to the conversation about Major League Baseball and minor league baseball. A couple of years ago, minor league baseball, they looked at our demographics. They're saying, hey, we're not attracting the Latinx community. We want to reach out and make sure they know that minor league baseball is for everybody. And so we came up with, we were one of 20 teams in this pilot program, Copa de Diversión, the Diversity Cup, essentially. And so everybody now just refers to it as Copa, but we rebranded as the Dorados here in Northern California, where the gold rush started. Dorados essentially slang for golden ones. So we worked with some of our local Hispanic media, came up with a theme. Obviously, the luchador, the mask. You got to go get one of those masks, Charlie. That would be great. The luchador mask is sweeping Sacramento. But yeah, you can get those. It's fun. The kids get behind it. It goes to some of the history of the Sacramento region, and it does. It ties greatly with Latinx. They want to come out. They want to have a great time, and everybody feels welcome with this. So we saw that last night. We do 5 or 6 games a year as the Dorados de Sacramento. And then, as you mentioned, the Guardians of the Galaxy hat, Major League Baseball partnered with Marvel. They loved all the unique, fun things, the different names minor league teams come up with, and they said, hey, how can we be a part of this? So Marvel reached out to, I think it was 95 teams, and they gave us several options. They looked at our logos, came up with those different designs, said, what do you think? So we worked with Marvel to come up with what you see now as our new mascot. Yeah, and we're going to do our Marvel night here in August. It's going to be a sold-out hit, and the kids are going to love it, and we can't wait.
That's really cool. You know, we had a huge viral clip a couple weeks ago because we started talking possible MLB expansion, and we started talking the rumors of MLB realignment. We'll get to the realignment. But in regard to expansion, Sacramento is one of those places. We just saw with the Kings in the finals how passionate this sports community is in Sacramento. It's one of those towns it's always talked about when expansion comes up. Right now, if the MLB were to expand, a lot of rumored cities, a lot of things. Where does Chip put 2 MLB teams?
Oh, that's a great question. Again, the old school guy in me, and you saw Tampa Bay start looking at this option. Montreal, what a great city, right? I think Montreal is a great city. I love when we can take baseball north of the border, continue to make it international. Speaking of international, Mexico City, another great market that, again, we saw the Giants go down there and play a game. I love seeing MLB trying to expand into those areas. I don't know if there's a big enough market in some of the other Latin American countries yet, but maybe, hopefully so, we can expand. If you look here in the States, everybody's talking about, obviously, Las Vegas, with probably the Oakland A's going there.
Looks like that's set now.
Yeah, Oakland's still a great market. I'm disappointed to see that. Oakland's a great market. Those fans, they've been so loyal for so long. I hate to see them lose essentially a third team, with this, but I understand the reasons why they're looking at Las Vegas. Nashville's talked about, Portland's talked about. Everybody knows the explosion in Nashville. My mother lived there for a few years. I think they need to figure out some of the traffic first. But what a great market. What a great market.
Very big point.
So I think you look at some of those cities. Sacramento obviously is as well. We're sitting right here. Sacramento is a much larger media market than Las Vegas. People don't understand that. They don't understand how big this city is. It's traditionally thought of as a government town, and we are, but a government town for the fifth largest economy in the world. So Sacramento's a great spot. So don't go to sleep on us.
And it's also interesting too. Like, I'm from New Jersey, so at first capital cities always get put into the same boat.
Yeah.
And so I was comparing it to Trenton. It's not like that at all, because it is a capital city, but it's huge. And Sac has its different pockets. So, like, I don't know, it's a diverse city. It's very cool. And I was seeing, like, people were talking about the Carolinas getting a team. And I was thinking to myself, just from knowing what I know about Sac, I'm like, Sacramento seems to me more likely than a town like that. But I don't think people realize how strong of a city we have here.
Yeah, Sacramento's great. I would say the one plug is we'd love to see more big businesses here in Sacramento. Obviously, the Bay Area, Southern California, LA, San Diego, lots of big businesses. Would like to see Sacramento continue to grow. And I know Visit Sacramento, I know Greater Sacramento, some of our collaborative initiatives are really trying to bring more business here, and that will continue to help as the city grows.
Have you seen any of the hypothetical maps that have come out for MLB realignment?
I've looked at some of those, but I try and ignore a lot of that so that I don't get sucked into conversations like this and say something that I shouldn't.
Welcome to it. So how would it affect baseball? Oh, I thought we had like a race. Oh, we got the Capital One. We got the Capital One contest going on.
What's in your wallet, Charlie?
I'd pull out a Capital One, but right now Citibank would be angry at me.
Yeah, Citibank it is.
So when we talk about these things like realignment, right?
Yeah.
So the East, or the Atlantic, how they were calling it, would then have the Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies, Boston Red Sox. One more I'm probably forgetting in there, maybe the Nationals. The West would have the Dodgers, Giants, A's, the Vegas A's, Angels, and maybe the D-backs in it, or the Padres. How do you feel that would affect Major League Baseball?
Certainly there's some advantages there when you talk about travel. I know that's a big one. We saw the NBA experiment with travel. Even in minor league baseball coming out of the pandemic, instead of 3 and 4 game series, we moved to 6 game series just to limit travel. Number one, for safety. But then when we saw how efficient it was and keeping guys in city and getting in and out and having an off day, it worked out great. So I can see the advantages there. There's certainly some regional competition that's great. I mean, here, the Bay Bridge series when the A's and Giants play. But again, I love the National League. I love the American League. We see the blending with the DH now. But I still think it's fun to have the National League winner play the American League winner, teams that don't see each other all the time or as regularly. So I think that's a unique component that I like in baseball. I mean, you see it in football where there's some crossover, but typically, NFC and AFC, they haven't played each other a lot. And so the Super Bowl's bigger because of that. And I think the World Series is bigger and special because of that in baseball too.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We're in a new day and age in our country. Technology's moving a million miles a minute. I was so disappointed today, guys. We're on the way here to Sacramento, and my driver warrior looks over me. I said, "Hey," you got anything on your mind? He's a big Giants fan. I said, "You got any questions you would ask?" First thing he says to me, actually, guys, check this out.
That GBT chat. Ask him what kind of questions you would ask a VP of a baseball team.
Have you used AI? I was so appalled and disgusted to think, well, yeah, let me get my own job out of the world. Let me start using AI to decide. Now, you're an old school soul at heart, right?
Yeah.
And you say, AI and tech has really, I think, hit the sport of baseball the most, where analytics became a main table conversation. What do you think the future of our sport here looks like with technology, AI, robots? What's the future look like?
It's really interesting. I was at we had a local think tank supporting some startups. here locally, and there was a group that had this technology built into a uniform, and so essentially it's monitoring muscle fatigue. And initially they started it. Guy played in the NFL, and he started it, and then they were applying it towards baseball. At what point does a pitcher start losing velocity, and at what point does his arm tire out? And so I think it'll be interesting as we see technology continue to impact the game, where as we study athletes and performance, we do want to optimize that performance, right? But then, Charlie, the great thing about sport is there's so much more than technology. There's so much more than analytics. I mean, we saw it. Giants fans will never forget Madison Bumgarner's performance. He was not 100% optimal peak performance on the mound in the World Series. However, when he came back on short rest, he was getting guys out. He found another gear, went there to a spot, and it was awesome. And it's the stories that we talk about. So there's certain things in sport that just players rise above. I mean, Derek Jeter, you think about him and his clutch performances. Right. Kurt Gibson in the '88 series, man. Like, guys rise above, and that's the beauty of sports. And I'm getting chills just talking about that stuff right now. So technology will never replace that, and that's what I love about sports, because we can blend technology, but then there's the human spirit, the human will that you can't replace, and AI will never replace that.
It's really cool, too, as a baseball fan, to hear a guy that's top of the top when you're talking the offices and baseball, where I think a lot of baseball fans now assume that everybody up top is just worshiping analytics. It's cool because there is that human factor that can come through, and that's where the magic is made.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. You're seeing teams like the Astros, like the Dodgers. They're all in on analytics, but they've got coaches that understand the feel of the game and player personnel as well. And so I think teams are starting to marry those two. The A's came out of the box and did it great with Moneyball. But now you're seeing teams learn how to marry just the art and the science together, and that's what I love, and that's what I'm excited to see with baseball as we go forward.
How does it go when a guy is just like out of the box, tearing the cover off the ball if he's a hitter, just really performing at this level? When like the fan base starts to rumble, he needs to be up at the club spot. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like, sometimes there's just not a club spot there. There's only 25 spots. Like, what do you say, or like, what's it like on your end when, like, you're the guy here at AAA, you're watching a player, you know they're ready for the bigs, or do you know? Like, what is that line like?
Well, I will say it's not as certain today as it used to be. 10 years ago, you knew a guy was on his way up. You knew they were probably just waiting. Maybe it was contractual where they had to pay him a certain amount depending on when they brought him up. Now these players, they'll go up for a day and then they'll come back down. I mean, everything's changed with guys going up and down. And it's all based on the big league needs, whether it's a pitching arm, or whether it's, they need another fielder, infielder or outfielder, whether or not they're calling a guy up. So much has changed now, but a prospect is still a prospect. And the fans know, and they want to see the young talent coming up. And so we understand our role in AAA. We want to make sure these guys are having fun here, that they feel as comfortable as possible, that they enjoy being at AAA. And then we want to support them and help them when they do get that call up, because it's great to see guys like Casey, keep going back to him, hit that home run and celebrate with him. They're like family.
What about, do you ever deal with a diva case? You ever get I'm not asking for any names here, but like you get them come down. I've heard even the wives, the family could be a baggage for the GMs to deal with. You ever deal with any of that stuff? And how do you do it diplomatically?
That's a great question. Yeah, I'll keep this answer short. Yes, there are. And look, that doesn't surprise anybody, right? And again, we just try and do our part. We say our goal here is to serve both our players and our fans. So we want to be humble and acknowledge, look, if you're up in the big leagues and you get sent down, nobody wants to get sent down. Everybody wants to be called up. And so we try and understand their disappointment when they get here, and we want to make it as comfortable for them and their families as possible. And there's been times where I'll say guys have been rude. But most of the part, these guys are great human beings. I'm thinking of someone, and they were a little rude and a little short, and a day or two later, they came and apologized, and they ended up buying the spread for the clubhouse, wanted to do stuff for our staff as well. And so, again, most of the time, it's just some disappointment. They get over that, and they understand, and they want to give back and serve, and they want to be a good family member here as well.
That was a cool story to bring up, because it is interesting. you could imagine in your head, it's like, what's happening right now? Like, life is in a tailspin on the send down. And it is true. I just think that that's the coolest part about where we are here is that it's this there's ultimate energies of emotion. There's the energy of immediately getting cut, that's the stomach dropping out. And then there's the exuberation of, holy smokes, I made it to the show. It's an interesting thing you see, man. And like, I feel like you have the ultimate even keel personality from it.
You know, it is these players, they've had to change their approach, and because of the analytics and guys going up and down. Again, we just saw this a few years ago where a player would get called up. They used to think, I've made it, I'm going to be there. And now when there's so much transaction going on every day, a guy they can't let themselves go there in their mind. They can't think, I've made it, I'm going to be here for 10 years. They've got to understand they may get sent down in 2 days, not because of anything they've done, just because of a roster need or the way the analytics lay out for that game. And so it certainly is a mental challenge for these players. And I'll give the Giants a lot of credit. They'll have team psychologists come in and talk with the guys so the guys can express both the excitement, but also the frustration or the challenge of being sent down and how to process that and how to make sure they're in a good headspace for the game. So the Giants do a great job of understanding that mental side.
We watch, like, or if our baseball fans here, sometimes we'll watch college guys and it's like, oh man, this guy's lights out. But once he gets drafted, it's years before he sees a professional mound, right, or field. Is there a reason why it seems like it takes so long to get the American athletes to the pros? Is it like just the major league actions allowed per player with arbitration, whatever? What is that long space of time compared to other sports?
Yeah, baseball is unique in that sense. It really is such a specialized skill. Yeah. And you do see that some of these guys, like Ken Griffey Jr., right? Like, he was a prodigy. I think he was playing ball when he was 18 or 19 in the big leagues.
Not good.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get other guys that they don't make it until they're 27, 28, 29. So it just shows you the specialized skill to hit a round ball with a round bat, to be able to throw the ball in a way that guys can't hit it. It does take a lot of work, a lot of skill, a lot of refinement. So that's unique about baseball, whereas football, guys coming out, or basketball, where people are skipping college and going right to the NBA. I'm not saying those aren't specialized, they are, but baseball is certainly unique in that sense, that it takes a little longer to develop that skill set.
And what is it like? Do you see that, like, when guys come either from AA here or down from the majors? Is it a crazy game speed change? Like, at each level, do you see the change?
Yeah, you think about that, right? We hear college quarterbacks talk about how fast the NFL is when they make it up there.
The best franchises in college.
Yeah, exactly. From an Alabama and Ohio State, and they're like, oh, the game's so fast. You think about that, that's every level from college ball to rookie ball in baseball. That's that game change, right? And then from rookie ball, single A, double A to triple A, every time they've got to adjust to a new speed of the game and everything that goes with it. And then the big leagues is obviously the pinnacle.
Ding it for the River Cats, ladies and gentlemen. And the River Cats have officially, did they take the lead? The River, as he rounds third, the River Cats have taken the lead.
Woo!
For the first time today.
Yeah.
The Cats take the lead right there.
Charlie, I'm gonna have you back all the time if we keep this up.
And Las Vegas, excuse me, the over-unders on the runs are going up today. Man, how quick do you get attached to these guys? Is it like a family environment here?
Yeah, we do get attached quickly. It's great. We go down to spring training, start getting to know some of the guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was wondering
down there and do some interviews and all that. And then obviously when they come up here, we meet them right away. We want to make sure, try and get to know their families too. And so when guys do come and go, you're excited for them, but then you're sad. But then you're excited because a new guy is coming up and you get to meet someone new. So there's a lot of transition. And then some of these guys I've been able to stay in touch with over the years, and you love seeing them progress in their careers as well. So it's some bittersweetness, but ultimately we know they want to make it to the show. They want to have a long career up there, and we want to help get them there.
How often do you get up to the Oracle?
Not as much as I should, to be honest with you. Probably a few times a year. It's my wife, when I go home, she's like, wait, you want to go to another baseball game? And yes, dear, I do. I'm sorry. Now I get to be a fan.
Well, thank you so much, Chip, for having us. This is a beautiful experience. Guys, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. And if you're in the Bay Area, Sacktown, up and down. Be sure to catch a River Cats game. Chip, what do you got to tell the people back home?
Charlie, you do great work, buddy. Thank you so much. Love all of our fans. Again, as Charlie said, if you haven't been out here, come check out Sutter Health Park. You're missing a lot of fun today.
We'll see you guys at the ballpark.